Coming in and digitalize code signals and interference line conditions. I get code box channels, space inhibitors, lock line channel, 9 rotation to its position locations. It's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 line center interference, 12 DNA track line connections, code signaling and position locations. Going through future connections of all levels, energize light centers to pod and line rotation to its calculation, changing all timelines in future position. Understand the calculation of what's going on is truly understand the avatar of its stream and how to center things back where it's supposed to be, not from the beginning, but in the now. Now, I set up the code line center. It's a box channel line connection. It's a digital code box. It's an anagram line channel. It's all levels of sonar, alpha, delta, theta, beta, omega, communication interference. In position location, this is a code signal, high signal interference. And I'm going to tap the high line rotation and travel you guys position. 5 to minutes, we'll get started. All right, travel through codes, well, through your energetic future pod connections, all line channels. Merkabah divisions, calculations, all high energy light streams in modification system. JP, how's it going? Okay, Larry, how's it going? Val, how's it going? Airbender, Jill, Amber, Amy, Terry, Samantha, Gypsy. All right. Express, Rainer, Michael, Lacey, J-Bar, Jill. So I'll wait for everybody to come in. Sarah. So true understanding travel is mostly understanding you through memory. And the only way you understand yourself is really understanding your calculations. It's all coordinate that's given to you. Now, traveling into the future through energetic line centers is extremely important to all level division. Platitude division location of the future pods. Now, traveling through acceleration is mocking system line conditions. So you guys are going to be mocking 120,000 Fahrenheit rotation. Very fast wind cycles and calculations. We're going to a high level system. Platitude division location of flame centers. Allocate time stream interference. So it's program setting reset line conditions. Levels your connections. So make sure you drink your water, make sure you're grounded, make sure you do a pre-flight check before you travel. Check on this, and that. To understand when you get into your ground line center, you travel position locations all through the mind. Mind is everything to position locations. You got 4 line centers, 2 wall line center interference on position locations on east and west. You're flying, right? But don't forget, you got the north for reference and you got the south for position locations. Now, the south line center is in backclocking. Now, you have to change position locations. So as soon as you change direction, now you're going north. You see how that changes? So it's changing your shape line center from here, and then it's just shifting. Now you're going north, right? That's how space works. It triangulates its high line interference. Program location is position line system. So if I'm walking this way, I'm going east. If I'm walking this way, I'm going west. But as soon as I do a rotation cycle interference, now I'm position locations. So this is now north, this is now west, this is now east, and this is now south. Okay? So you have to learn how to travel through your Merkabahs on so many fast cycles. Interference location to point location. It's very powerful when you travel through high line conditions, right? In position, right? So just show you, it's very powerful stuff, but we're going to travel through this. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so code signals are already set up through your 12 DNA track interference, code line centers, crew interference, units, squad lines 1 and 2, position locations, GFL line center rebellion to all levels of sending masters, generate calculating each line center interference, run the program interference line condition. It's set in signal activation, streaming line center, and rotation line conditions. Line interference, the program setting is coordinates and its high center in calculations. So we go high line rotations. This is north, this is east, west, south, and position locations. Right? So you change position locations. This is now north. Okay, this is now west, this is now east, and this is now south. You see what I've done? You see what I've done? Right? So it's interesting how you look at calculation, north, west, south, and east, and then you just switch it around. This is now north in position locations, east, west, and south. So you have to truly understand how to travel through the connection. It's extremely powerful when you come in that position locations, right? So in high interference locations, you come into levels. Now we go into rotation center and calculations, right? Everything has to have a ground. Not the ground line center, your position locations. All right, that's 50,000 feet position location, pure line center. I'm talking about the grounds of the mind where you're doing through trial position. Go through high line center interference. There's the same interference. Go through triangle interference line conditions, all position location line conditions. Now, in high center, you have to understand how to travel through the all level position location of calculations. How to travel through that through the X line connections to an XT1000. See? It sets signal locations and it sets the ground line center to the growth in inner line rotation units position locations. We usually go between 3,000 to 5,000 line connection and the ground and line rotation. So they come into calculations, it sets a new course line center interference in calculations. See? It high channels its position locations, high liner, its high center line interference location, line position, right? So exactly knowing exactly what you're doing through travel is to understand everything through a crop circle. Now, realm in position locations comes in the light signals and high rotates its position location to its calculation, right? It high channels its high line center and rotation system. See how it changes the coloration? Comes in high center, changes automatic interference line kinetic XT1000, sets the course line center and rotation interference. So the program line center is a rain graph interference. It sets up the data stream. There's a data stream in a rotation. Rainbow activation line connection is position. All right. So it modifies its signals, and another XT1000 comes into the center operation line center, which is the seat of the soul. Seat of the soul comes into locations, centers its high line center and interference line connection to its program setting, reset line center in position, calculates modification line conditions. So if you look at it, it looks like an octopus because that's what it is. Optical line center locations. All right. Lacing line center, X line interference location of channels. Communication interference rotation to its position locations, all right? Coordinates are set up the high line center rotations in position location Bermuda Triangle. I just want to show you how powerful it is to go through north, west, south, and east and everything at position locations. Once you change position location of triangles, it changes your line connections to its program setting. Reset line center interference. So let's say you got a box location, right? You got another box location here, another box location here, and you got one here in position locations. It's high center and it's high line center. So in this location, this is north, okay, and this is north. It's interesting how you have to understand all position location. How is this all levels of north? Where's south, west, and east position location? Everything is north. You know why? Because I've already traveled through its all line connections in position, all in line connection. See, all at once. So everything is a north of reference. North/reference. Okay, very powerful. North/reference. All right. So it's all about traveling through shapes, letters, and numbers extremely fast in line conditions. All right. So the codes are set up in high rotation. You guys are going to travel through it, getting in position line system, right? So as I press the buttons, it's going to activate the high stream line center, put you in your future party interference location, change your ox line center, line condition, interference line conditions, put in all time lines in the future line interference. Here we go. Setting signal in position locations, redirection line center interference. In position location, high channel is its high line center. Let's change the coloration pattern. Rotation interference. And calculations. Modify signals in rotation center. Okay, so it's offline position. Changes back in calculation line stream. So it's moving signals on location centers. In rotation interference, it's all about traveling through high center line conditions, all right? Changing locations. Okay, see how it shifts? System line centers. Okay, it's trying to find its direction, location. Once it finds its position locations, we center up the high line center. And there we go. Calculation modified. All right, so in signal, we change code line center and position line center. Now, the high line center is interference of channel. Now, we come into sun graph line center 0-1 communication. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, okay, in high rotation. All levels in calculation. There's the zeros. Now, the one line center comes in high in rotations. Travel position, location, line connections, all right? Changing all communication cycles, rotation to its interference, probe location to its calculations. High channel, it's high center. Okay, so it changes all levels. Okay, coming to calculations. All right, trial position, all level connections. All right, traveling through code line center interference. Okay, so that's a setup in code line interference. We come into rainbow graph. Now, rainbow graph comes in high center. Extremely fast at high position locations, right? All code signals are set up in high rotation interference. Calculation modification to its conditions. Channeling and position line centers. Set up a new core line center interference into a high rotations to its calculations, right? Rectangle high system. Modification circle line interrotation comes into levels. So we come into 0-1 line interference. New sun graph line center line conditions, 0-1, okay? Equal line center, box line center, okay, slash TV. And rotation, calculation modification to its stream interference, okay? Code signals are set up in high line center interference locations, all levels, okay? Setting course line centers, putting you guys all levels in the future pod acceleration line conditions. Timers are set up in position locations of code streams line center. In position locations come into the all levels of the crew units, squad line centers 1 and 2, GFL, the rebellion, everything through cinematics, they're traveling through box line interference. Core line center interference line conditions, in position location line conditions. 30 minutes, have fun. All right, try position of all timelines. I'm gonna add some water. Traveling through school is understanding that you can travel through anything. As soon as I sit down, it automatically sits me in the seat line center. So it understands my signature pattern. This is my chair. This is my teleportation unit. Solar graph interference. If it was somebody else that was sitting in this chair, they would get a shock wave. In calculation identification is code sys line interference. Voice grid line panels in the high rotation disposition locations. They understand this is not the general. This is somebody else. Computer screen sees the teleportation light centers. That's how you identify your eyes, your ears, and your voice grid line center when you're going to all level system of digital framing. Calculation modification to its cycles. All right. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so a lot of activity going on through high center. Calibration, binary data removed, data crystals complete later. Okay, beautifully said. Rotation, grid lines, positions. Okay, Tara, how you doing? Okay, sending huge burst of music to everyone. Calculation, knowing exactly what you're doing. Say calculations. All of us with the Ascendant Masters, the connections of the crews. You understand your units and your squads, your vector cores, your quadrant line centers, your timelines, your time interference, knowing exactly what you're doing every single day, right? That's the most important thing. But you can travel through anything. That's the beautiful thing. All right, receiving downloads, great. Rebooting, sending downrange. Oh, sir, flash drive is ready. Good. Sort of blast, scrambler, sending direct signals to the team. Oh, scrambler, sending codes to my signal beacon. Great, excellent. Fantastic, Jill, Amber. Center masters are on cue, on point, and on division. Seeing how everything Mandela effects occur, lessons, what occurred will not be, so it won't happen. You know exactly what it is, Chris says exactly. Won't be repeating cycles or anything of the karma cycle interference. No more problem position locations. Putting you guys back where you're supposed to be from the position, which is no longer in a calculation separation. Communication all levels positions puts all levels of you through your timelines. Interference channel location to its connection. All right. Okay, good. You're calculating to a level system. All right. As you guys are doing what you need to do through calculation line streams, I'm going to set up high system locations. All right, so it's amazing how we're traveling through that high center. It's all through code line interference. So in position locations, everybody is going to turn into high line, center line conditions, digital framing. No, there's digital clocking, digital line, and line condition rotations. So in calculations, you guys are going to be in position locations. High generation light centers in position. All right, so we go to 0 equals 1, okay, /2 equals 3, okay, and then we go into 3 weather pattern line centers. Now you have to send the code line interference location and position. All right. As you come into the calculation, you come into teleportation line center. XT1000 comes in, scans line center, crop circle line interference, rotation to its position locations. It high channels back into high line rotations, comes into 4 line center. Okay. Center position location, the vector core line center to a level position. Okay. See the flux capacitor. Channels into 5 line center calculations. All right. Now box interference, okay, equals ground. Okay. So / acceleration. All right. This acceleration line center. Okay. Equals line center. Okay. Center up is position locations back and track center. Clocking line center locations equals communication. All right. So in calculations, you guys are all levels of numbers from one line center line condition interference. Now the communication cycle changes rotation center opposites and locations. That's what Trinity's saying what's going on. I'm showing you exactly how this is set up from this to all calculations, all levels, from all position line conditions, from interference channel line centers to this all levels of communication cycle. Rotation interference locations, line conditions. Backing track line centers. Now that was done through allocate line center. Everything that I do through a level condition is not the past line. It's in the current of the now line rotation. So it's amazing how I bring things forward in its calculation to its calculation rotation system. Modification of levels of its north and its reference. So to understand when you're traveling extremely fast through acceleration line conditions, right? So in calculations, we go back in triangle system. Now we change the time pi, time calculation interference. That sets a new program setting, realign center. Now realign center comes into align center. So we get into high system location to 5 channel center box interference. Goes into the levels atmosphere change to the communication to its rotation to telepathy of wave centers. A calculation strips right through the highlight center road graph interference. In position locations comes into 6 equals line center of 12. Okay, 12 line center position locations. That's how you guys turn into number sequence calculation modification on levels at XT1000 rotation. So it's incredible how we travel to all line centers to code reference location of plasma line centers. In position, it's true to understand all levels of U through division. Knowing what you're doing through calculations. It's all about understand how to sequence line centers into 12 line DNA tracking the line conditions to digital frame line positions from its all level system. All right, shapes, letters, numbers, and symbols, all calculated and modified through communication. All right. So make sure you drink your water, make sure you're breathing, highlighting center interference, travel very fast through all level connections to a future pod communication cycle. So track interference is all line center interference. So it's sure you understand that traveling comes in all level Qs. Now Q line center interference, it can be one position location. Okay, so we lock in and frame, know exactly what we're doing through modification. Everything, it's high system changes position. See how I changed that? Coloration line center. Now there's not just 1 or 2, there's 3. 1, 2, 3, right? See how it locks in frame? So we change position locations. It redirects its line center in its position. See? Change locations, lock in and frame. Move it to high center. There we go. Pyramid. See? Shadow line, center line, interference location, and pyramid line rotation. Lock it in frame. Change position location. Oh, what do we got here? Now we got a square. Square comes in high line center. Let's lock that in frame communications. All right. Change all line center. Oh, what do we got here? Another pyramid. Right. So in calculation, lock that in frame. Shadow interference is coming into triangle interference line conditions. I'm just showing what you can do through shades and shadows, all through a pyramid, all activation to its high condition. So it's amazing how we use shadows in all frame line system. See the calculations? There's a Fibonacci box sequence interference line conditional levels. How many triangles are in that high rotation line interference? Program location to its calculations. Do you see the connections to all levels? All right. So it's all about seeing the walk path. See the walk path? You see the geometric shape? See the 3 line centers? One here, and one here. See them? See the platforms? See the pyramid line rotation? 1, 2, and 3. 3 graph line center, 3,000 line position location line conditions. Now opening all channel line and rotation, changing line system location to its calculations. Right? Setting new signals in position. It's confusing, right? But they're all plateau of information that's given to you through data streams. It's all letters of frames, shapes, all line conditions. Structure interference, digital line and inner line rotation its condition of shades and shadows. How it sets up signals and interference. So it's all calculation modification. All it is just adding signals and signals in rotation. See, there's another box line center, but it's in all position locations, all levels. A matrix line connections, which is its black surface. See it? It's calculation. See the line string come down position. So all is in lock frame, communication interference. There we go. There's another very confusing line interference. Now you're going to see intelligence come in. Now you focus line center. Let's lock that in frame hide line center. Let's set up the position locations. Don't look at me. Look at this. Look at me and then look at this. Don't look at me. So what am I saying through calculation? This is the confusion location to its triangle line interference. Cycle interference locations are levels. 3 division line interference line conditions. That's so many plateaus of interference line conditions of channeling, right? So start looking at me now. You'll see this move. All right? Look at me, look at me, look at me. You'll start seeing this move, right? Shifting the high line center interference, program location moves calculation. It's confusing to the eye. See, it's how it moves through travels. Shape position location locks its frame. Now this is where it comes into Fibonacci sequence locations. There we go, pyramid line center. All right, so how many pyramid line center rotations are there through a box system? Location to its calculation. So modification line connections. It's amazing how we go to all level system rotation. Right, just showing you how you can go through different shades and shadows. This is how everything's set up through data, guys. This is how it's all position locations. And high channeling and lock-in line connections, arrow direction line interference. So this is where we come into a lot of these center interference locations, high channel locations in north. All right, and this comes into all levels of north. All right, so everything in position location is north. Everything in location is north. Everything in location is north. Everything is location is north because it's already done its travel through location of all levels of triangle locations. In calculations, you hide its position locations, you box its system location to its calculation. In rotation line centers, you highlight center, all level position location to its calculation. Right? Rotation center and interference line conditions, you put box line center to triangle interference. Program location line conditions. Now, highlight center, you can change position locations all level security measures. Now, it rotates its system location. You can set up a 0 line center triangle in high rotation. Calculation modification high streams. Now we go into high line center north. We go into high line center of south. And we go in position east. And we go in position of west in high interference. Now it rotates its system location to calculations. It sets a new box streamline center in rotation to its position location. It's calculation modification line condition. Now opens all line center and interference. Now, this is to understand how this is set up in space. It's complicated, right? Because you don't understand the graph streams in rotation, travel positions, all levels, all level connection, level of travel line centers, triangle interference. So it sets program setting position location line conditions, right? But I guarantee you guys are all traveling through this, through its rotation. So I'm just showing you how powerful it is to travel through all levels of shapes, letters, and numbers and symbols, and how everything is in north of its reference. Because it's already east, west, and south already. Correlation location to its mainframe. It's set in signal locations, all levels, how you travel through the connections, right? So you can line strip locations back into a rectangle. High level rotations, high line center interference locations, right? So this is all about understanding that you're coming in different vibration locations to its connection, to 3 different line centers. And then you get really fast, all right? So this is the same as this. It's just as a higher vibrational light. So this is a mega channel communication because it's very fast, right? This is a box line center of alpha communication, right? It's beginning. This is a delta wave line center in calculations, right? And everything through this is all levels of theta line center into a TV reception. That's theta. Communication all levels, all line condition interference. Program location to its calculations. So you come into a TV box channel. Now, TV box channel change line center to another ground interference. You can change adaptation cycles in rotation to its system locations, right? High channel in its high line center into the center operation to its fluctuation line conditions. Standing on point. See the triangle communication comes into all levels. Now let's change the course line center to all levels of green. Green is the combination of levels position to its position line center. Now the rotation line center is set up to its core line system. Allocate high line center rotation interference. Travel position location to its triangulation. Okay. So once you get in triangulation, you truly understand how to line divide everything through calculation, right? Map coordinates to high line center locations to Jupiter line system. Ooh-ah. Correlates high line center energy field line rotation. Calculates all levels. Energy hub and position line conditions. Rotation to its system. Rotation line conditions. XT1000 line condition. All line condition interference. Rotation line center and position location to a triangle line rotation. Calculation modification line conditions. All levels at position locations. Set up graph line center streams in line rotation to the graph to a road graph line center. In position location line conditions. Now we try position location at all levels. Triangle interference. Butterfly effect. Intelligent through high system. So true understanding travel is extremely powerful stuff. And you guys have to really modify your signals and know exactly what you're doing through not just the triangulation, but understand how you get into its position. It's all done through travel, time centers. Now let's say we go into the triangle interference right away without even getting in that process line center. But you have to understand what you're doing through modification signals, right? So this is north, this is north, this is north, because it's already done, which means it's already traveled very fast. So everything of north is its reference on its own location. See? So, and this is where it comes into north-south, northeast, northwest, north-south, and east. Remember, you can do anything in a dimensional ascending locking and interference locations. You can channel in your geographical line center in rotation to its position. Set up circle lining and rotation to its calculation modification high streams. Opens all channel lining and rotation to its calculation of its honeycomb and high rotation to its calculation. All right. So there's a lot of things that you can do through travel. We're just showing you how you do these things through modification cycles, rotation interference, or the operation center location of its avatar. Back in the ground interference location line conditions, right? In high line center stream interference. Come into all levels. The fork, right? Fork line, which is your hand. See the three? See the three there? So that comes in reference locations. Digital line center line connections of 1, 2, and 3. Coloration line change. Now it's in the matrix. 1, 2, and 3. Right? 1 position locations, 2 is an activation cycle, and 3 is in location. Now, see how it stopped in frame? Now everything's in north line center. This comes in east line rotation. This comes into west. Right? South is here in line rotation. Right? So it's all about understanding how you travel faster and faster rotation line conditions all through digital line center rotation. Okay, it's like an orientation graph. Circle rotation line interference. So as it spins faster and faster, you're always going in the north line center, going forward in position location to its direction. It doesn't matter which direction you go, you're always in the north line center. So it's pretty powerful when you travel through space, right? All right, how are we doing so far? Okay. You guys are going to come more into your timelines, right? Because your future pods are now in activation stream centers. You're now in calculation. So all your templates are now in the future. Calculation tomorrow, we'll be setting up a new vessel communication cycle, rotation interference locations, all levels, bounce line center to all your timelines into one position. 2, its avatar system of high line center of 0-1 traction. All right. Knowing exactly what's going on with you guys. All right. getting caught up through signals and that rotation. I just want to show you how powerful it is when you set these things up. Okay? So we're changing graph line center. Okay? It's a smaller graph interference, but it still does the same thing. It's all position locations. It's even on high center. So it's all connections to size graph location from this to this high system locations, right? So knowing exactly the bandwidth that you have through your brain pattern that you can use in all direction, right? So in calculation, everything is all levels of north. North is always going forward, which means it's up. So when you keep going up, you keep going across into the future, right? You can high signal back in line center interference. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, we got calculations. High level system location to its calculation line conditions, right? Now it gets complicated if you understand conditional levels of travel. High level rotation line conditions comes into its diamond core, yes. And then you come into high line center to the south line conditions. Oh, look at that. Look how it's set up position. As it's set up position locations, you're changing track line centers in position location to its calculation. See? See how it's coming into form? It's amazing how travel comes in high system, right? So as you come into high line center, you can actually see the walls on both sideline interference, right? So if you come into calculations, you can see the energy light poles on both sideline system. See the poles? High rotations on high line rotation interference, right? Like telephone poles, right? Now those are sequence interline conditions. We set up sonar line interference, all line position location at calculations. Sets out wave cycles and interference. Sets program center line position locations. Now you can travel through this box line rotation to a circle line interference to its position location, convention line center, and the interference line condition to its program. All right? Travel through that line center location. This is the lacing line interference. See that? Lacing line interference changes in its program setting. So we set up high signal locations to its graph interference. See? Graph interference in high line system. Let's go into more calculations of waving cycles. There we go, right? So it's amazing how this is all calculated and modified through the same line center. There's the intelligent location. There's the face. There's the position location of the center off line center to reception location to its core system, right? This is the body frame. This is the face. So in calculation, you have to truly understand what you're doing through modification centers. So it's incredible force how north is always a reference. But the thing is that you have to understand triangle interference. Triangle interference is triangulation to its point system. It travels to online rotation interference in calculation. So you're going from this way to line system locations, and then you go in the opposite direction to its high system. Okay? So you go this way. Okay? So it's amazing how you travel all through the mind system, through its intelligence of its rainbow activation line stream to its future pod location. Ooh-ah. So it's incredible when you see these things, right? It's amazing, people, when you learn how to travel. See, now it's big again. You see what just happened? It just traveled. You saw the North Line Center interference, right? You saw it small, and then it went big. Whoa, look at that. Just traveled faster. So it's amazing how things travel through recognition of time center. Anything through high connections using the digital pad as its intelligence, how it comes off platform. And then when it comes out, you have to understand what do you want to do with it. You want to spin it across line center. You want to change line interference. You want to change the program setting, reset the computer line in a rotation, see the I-line channel, graph line interference, positions, move over line center, back in calculation, take this out, throw that away, put that in. It's all positioned through you connectional levels to the simulation graph, your calculations, right? But you're always in position in calculations. Doesn't matter what you're doing through travel, everything is balanced to the high connections. Anything that you draw through high signal. So it's sure you understand how to travel through a Merkabah channel in rotation to its box system location to its calculation. YV vector line interference, see? One there, one there. Now the rotation comes back into calculation. This comes into its kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope sets up high signals back in calculation, all right? Modifies signals into a clocking line channel rotation interference to a Fibonacci sequence. Fibonacci sequence here, Fibonacci sequence here, Fibonacci sequence here, going back in channel line center. All right, 3 line center interference location. There's the intelligence. In calculation modifications, high line center, its ground line center rotation to its connections. All right, comes in a modification cycle. Last night in high line center. Now, last night, when I say last, that's provisional locations on what happened to the high line rotation, which is current line center, which is just a back clocking. Anything in past reference is only back clocking, which means it's time frequency of time loss. Get back in calculation, back in the heart line center, rotation interference location to your connections to your high line center of your flywheel. See? So it's amazing when you travel. And I'm showing you in so many options how it's so powerfully go through shades and shadows of triangles. It's that core line center's interference in position locations at all levels. When you travel through intelligent locations, through its position. Universal line center locations, stream interference locations, all levels. Future pods communication to a cycle of intelligence. Phase recognition of time centers, rotation line connections. All levels of 1, 2, and 3 through all level rainbow activation line streams. Correlation line interference locations, all levels, XT1000 line connection energy hub, communication intelligence location at graph line center, in position locations of all levels. It calculates and modifies to butterfly effect anything through travel position of time center. Rotates the system locations, line conditions. All right. All right. So everybody's having a wonderful day. Happy smiles. Energy's good. Fluctuating fast. It's great to see that. These are the dark veins that can be touched in strong portals. Yep, exactly, Gypsy. Know exactly what you're doing through modification cycles, time locks, time sectors, private interference, locking channels, vortex chamber, communication off centers. You understand your teleportation, how it sets position locations to its calculation. All right. Let's say you're going to have vortex box. Now, vortex box is a chamber line. Now, chamber line center connects all levels. It's pretty powerful stuff when you calculate, modify high line rotation in calculation to its position locations. All right. It high channels to assist line connections to its crown. Now, in rotation line centers, you have to send the 8 line rotation. See the 8 rotations, offline connections. You got to put that back in the center line connection to its interference. That sets position location line connections. Coming into intelligence is its fluctuation to its line connection. Now, rotation cycles interference. Now, this is way off balance, guys, but it still works, right? Because I always put it back where? To it north of its reference. Ooh-ah. All right. So as you channel off, you channel back on. I'm just showing you how powerful it is where you can travel through your crowns. Understand the calculations on transmitting and receiving locations to your satellites and position location to its ground system. Satellite. All right. Setting out signal location to its position. That's all you're doing. So it's incredible when you balance your system. Now, even if you're offline center, just find your north. Right? So if you travel very fast, you're always ending where? North. Go north and you go up and go across. If you're going across, you're going where? You're going faster and faster and faster. So basically you come out of time to timeless to back into time. So it's to understand that you're going into the other line center locations into another universe line rotation. Now you have to send, well, where's the universe? Well, you're in the universe. You are the universe. You're in the now of its universe. But you have to understand there's other universal systems that have other solar systems. Map coordinates, map divisions, coordinate line channels, interference line connection, rotation system, modification cycles, location to its avatar system. So it's to understand that you are all connected to your co-creations and what you see through imagination. Your imagination is all coordinate line centers to its phenomenon. It opens all line center and interference location to its calculation. All right. So showing you how to travel is all point view, right? To your avatar. All right. All right. So let's go to connection and interference. High rotations back into all center. All right. Taking you guys out. All right. So you're going to come back into the digital box line interference, into number code interference line connections to its code stream. All right, send box line centers back in calculation all levels. Code line center, codes, U line interference location units, squad 1s and 2s. the GFL rebellion, and everything through connections with the cinemasses. Bring them in track line center interference. Bring it back communications to number code sequence location of 12 DNA track system. Back in line center. Hooah! That was that fun or what? I had a lot of fun. So it's all done through voice grid channel, back in communication rotation, into all levels of a digital frame to a box line system to all digital code system line connection. Now that was a lot of fun. Getting to know exactly what you're doing. So in calculation right now, all your future timelines are in the now. Now we just got to set the code signal location to its calculations to a new box screen. Which will be done tomorrow. So, any questions or comments? Let me know. All right. The channel off position location, generally I space timeline center. Adios, everybody.